This is a Sanyo MSX2 from Japan. Personal computer PHC23J is the full model number. J stands for Japanese characters. And it is a MSX machine, in this case MSX2, with 64 kilobytes of RAM and 128 kilobytes of video memory, with 2 cartridge slots, and the numeric keypad, cursor keys, and miscellaneous input and output. Here is a voltage down-step converter from 120 US volts to 100 volts. That's what Japanese standard use. And this is a 100 volt machine, so we want to make sure it gets the correct voltage. I'm a Commodore guy, so MSX is relatively new to me. I had one friend in middle school who had a MSX, Sony Hitbit, and we used to load games from tape and play and have fun. But since then, that was 80s, I had no idea how MSX grew or developed, and here we are. So this is just another 8-bit computer added to my collection, and I'm discovering how to use this and what the features are. MSX never took off in the United States. It was very popular in Japan, and it was also somewhat popular in Asia, Europe, and South America. In Japan, it mostly used cartridges. In Europe, tape and disk drives, especially after MSX2, disk drives become more common. This particular cartridge that I got on eBay is from Brazil. It's a mapper and mega RAM. Basically expands the RAM to 512 kilobytes, and it allows me to use SD cards as virtual disks and map ROMs. This switch over here makes the RAM extended RAM available on, and then this switch here, MP, is for mapper. It allows me to boot into the second partition of this card, which is DOS, MSX-DOS 2.0. If I switch to the MR position, that's a Mega ROM position, it boots into the first partition of this SD card, which is MSX-DOS 1.0. Why downgrade? Well, that uses less memory, and then it allows me to load Mega ROMs, which are more than 64 kilobytes. When the cartridges have ROMs in them, they also have extra memory and whatnot, and then that, real cartridges allow you to play those even in 64K of memory. But with this system, you have virtual disk, you have operating system taking all that memory. It's not easy to, some games won't run basically in memory mapper mode. They will run on the Mega ROM mode. So let's fire this up. I'm in memory mapper mode, turning on. We should see the infamous MSX logo, and then it's booting. Next door sys version 2.12, and here we are at the A prompt. I see some terrible lines on the screen. I'll try to address that by turning the phone a little bit, but I'm not sure if I can get rid of it fully. So here we are at A prompt. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. There we go, lines are kind of gone. So this is like MS-DOS. MSX was a standard that was basically designed by Microsoft Japan and SK Corporation of Japan. So a lot of things are done, Microsoft style. So MSX-DOS is one of them. So we have, you know, if I type help, I have all these commands at my disposal. They're DOS commands. And Control C, it again, just like DOS, breaks out. And then if I see directory, demos, games, etc. So we have batch files, just like in DOS. So if I run, and then tab auto completes the command, and then yeah, clears the screen, runs sr.com basically. So we can do the same. So I'm just going to type sr, hit enter. This is a game loader or mapper. It allows you to select the ROM file. And here's the list of ROMs. So I'm in Mega ROM folder. This folder includes ROMs that are bigger than 64 kilobytes. And it's really hard to read. It's because it's using high resolution. I believe if you use MSX1, it uses lower resolution, but MSX2 have higher video RAM. Now it's switched to higher resolution. So if I wanted to run 1942, and I can change some parameters regarding that ROM file, or I can just try my luck and say start and see if this runs. Mapper type Konami, and then it says device capacity 1024 kilobytes. I'm not sure what that means, because that's like 1 megabytes of space. And here we go. It starts. So if you're using keyboards, usually, or most of the time, cursor keys are directions, space is fire, and graph could be second fire. In this case, it's the graph key. It's very common to use multiple fires in MSX games. So I'm gonna hit reset on the machine and then reboot the machine. Well, let's try SR again. So here is what doesn't run in this situation. So that Megaram 1942 ran fine. I guess it didn't require that much of a memory. But what if, let's say, Rastan, I don't know how you guys spell it, pronounce it. And it locks up. So, and if I hit a key, I can still that click from the screen coming from the speakers. So it's locked up somewhere. So I'm gonna switch this. After turning off the computer, I'm gonna switch to Mega ROM mod. Now boot it up. So we have the same MSX screen. And now this boot process is different. Now it's booting in the first partition of that SD card. So if you put that SD card in Windows, you'll see actually drive E and F, or F and G, depending on your system. This one has MSX1. And then as soon as it runs, it basically says use exec ROM and then file name to run a file. And if I say exec ROM and Rastan, if I push tab, it actually does tab. It doesn't complete because apparently this MSX DOS 1, I guess, doesn't have that feature. So if I do this and it shows all that information. It's loading the file. And here we go. So if it doesn't run on software run in MSX-DOS 2, then we switch to MSX-DOS 1 and then use exec ROM to start these games, basically. So this game is very colorful comparing to the Commodore version. Too bad enemy sprites are single colored, but everything else is very colorful. And then again, this uses 2 buttons. In Commodore, I believe you had to push up to jump. In this one, you again push graph button, which is right next to the space as your secondary fire. And that allows you to do moves like this, up and fire, which wouldn't be possible with Commodore because you'd be jumping. Ah! Ooh, you're throwing fireballs now. There's some slowdowns between screens. It could be the, this emulation. There are other products out there that claim to be faster. So this is a very basic cartridge. There are other cartridges that add better sound. That's another thing with MSX. You can actually add different sound chips, and then some software support that, and then you get to listen better music, for example. Okay, I'm gonna turn this off. I'm gonna boot into the MSX-DOS 2 and check out the demos folder. We have Anarchy. So I'm going to do directory.bat just to see batch files. Oh, no batch files. Okay. What we have is auto execute.bash. So that's the basic file. Like other 8-bit computers, actually when you turn on MSX, the first thing comes to you is basic interpreter, just like Commodore and other 8-bit machines of the era. But since we have this like disk emulator, it boots into MSX-DOS. So we basically need to load this in basic interpreter. So one way to do that is to type basic. Either just basic will take us to basic interpreter, or basic auto exec.bash. And when I do this, illegal function call in 10. And color, k-off, width, screen 0, and then print whole space keys to select 50 Hertz. Interesting. And then bload bin R. For some reason, there's a function in here that's, it says illegal. So maybe, is it VDP 10? I don't know. What if we run this bload? So MSX BASIC has multiple load commands, unlike the Commodore. Commodore has just load and comma, you know. There is B load. I think there's C load. There's just load, and then there's like a run. Cas as in cassette. So B load is, I think, binary load. So I'm just gonna try this and see what happens. Please retry it when using DOS 1 mode. Division by 0. Oh, interesting. So, well, it requires DOS 1, but obviously we can't really do that because DOS 1 uses the other partition, which does not have this demo. Well, one thing we can try is I can reset and we can try if SofaRun can load this demo, because SofaRun can also load certain bin files or disk files. Let's see if SofaRun does anything. So I'm gonna change directory. It will be in Megaram folder under games. So I'm just gonna go one up, demos. Let's try Anarchy. Let's try loader bin and see what happens. Oh, nothing happened. So I guess loader bin is not a supported file. What about basic? Oh, it can do basic. Let's see if we can change the settings of this auto exec back. Default mode, default, erase VRAM, no, palette, none. Oh, I'm just gonna cancel out, but if I say start, sometimes SofaRun does a better job at starting stuff, but nope. Still illegal function call in 10. So I don't know enough about the MSX Basic, so I can't really debug this particular problem. So I'm just gonna reset again and see if there is another working demo. Well, here's another demo by Impuls, I think. So this one also has auto execute basic. MSX music, nope. MSX audio, nope. OPL 4 sound select. So, well, apparently these demo uses one of the more advanced sound options with sound chips, which I don't have. So I guess it's pointless to have a music disk for 3 systems. Well, except for the, I guess, MSX Zone audio. Okay, lit demo. Are there any auto execute? Okay. Auto tab. Let's see. Oh, did not do anything. How about AvaAkkus.bat? Oh, there we go. Here's some. It's pretty cool. So this machine has, like Commodore has run, stop, restore. This one has escape and stop. So I don't know if they are similar. I know there's also Control C for the DOS. But right now escape or stop did not do anything. Oh, cute graphics. Not bad. Control C. Nope. Oh, I made it stop. I don't know if it's a good thing. I'm just gonna reset. I'm going to go to SofaRun. So far, and also supports zip files. So if I were to go to games folder, so there's ROMs and Megarams. There's also ROM pack, which is a zip file. And if you go in a zip file, it lists all the files. And then from here, it's really hard to see. Sorry, I can't hardly see myself. This high resolution mode on a composite audio. But let's say Fantasy Zone 2. I'm gonna just start and see what happens. Sofa unzip. So it's unzipping in a temporary place, temp folder. And then it starts to load it as a ROM as usual. Start address, device capacity. Oof, 4096 kilobyte. So that might be the space, total space it might need, not just the ROM. ROM is probably like 256K. So this is pretty colorful. Oh, died. So some of the stuff here looks like a background graphic, but it's actually, and same deal. Space is shooting, graph key is bomb. It's a secondary fire. Ooh, do we want to warp? Oh, we warped. There's shop, so you can collect these money and then go to shop. Oh, we got $400. Can't afford anything. Okay, we're just looking. Nope, I can't do anything. Okay, graph is the exit. Oh, graph. No. I'm gonna reset this. And I'm just gonna start an MSX1 game. So MSX1 games are simpler. And you'll see a lot of like games give you NES vibes. It's because a lot of Japanese developers worked on games, Konami, Taito, and others that I can't think of right now. This is like the pre-NES games. A lot of JRPGs on MSX platform. Many different like cute or weird characters that you wouldn't see on Commodore games, for example. One game on MSX1, for example, is Bosconian. That's a very good arcade conversion. The best 8-bit arcade conversion, I would say, in my opinion. The Commodore version sucks, but the MSX one, very good arcade conversion. I mean, I know the scrolling is choppier, but I mean, this is just to prove that scrolling is not everything. So it's almost like original developers are given, here we go, now put this game into MSX. Here's the hardware, and then they did a fantastic job. to reset. And then finally, I'm gonna start the Castlevania, which is, I believe, listed here as Vampire Killer. And it could be a Megaram. So I need to check that Megaram folder because I don't think there's Castlevania here. I mean, there's Castle games. I don't think these are Castlevania. So the original game is known as, I think, Vampire Hunter or something with vampires. So here's okay, yeah, it's not here because it's not a regular ROM. These regular ROMs are 16K, 32K, maybe 64 max. So we're gonna go to Megaram folder and find our Vampire. Here we go, Vampire Killer, 128K. We're gonna start. Konami. There we go. Here's Castlevania before it was Castlevania. Or maybe it was the English name, I don't know. Or the Japanese name. I know some of the Japanese and European names differ. And here we are. This one is single button, unfortunately. So for jumping, I still have to use up, which is painful because I need to use up to get on the stairs. And if I'm missing this stair, and here was the most frustrating part of this for me. I play this, I couldn't find the key to exit here. Apparently, you gotta break that wall. So there you go. So it's got nice music. Gets repetitive after a while, but it's pretty good. Good graphics. So again, it's got that NES vibe to it. Cool. Okay, there were more than one breakable walls apparently. Okay, I'm gonna reset it. And I'm just gonna load one more game that's probably not as good as, let's say, Commodore counterpart. Most likely because it's converted from ZX Spectrum. Since it uses a Z80 or Z80 CPU, it wasn't uncommon for some developer companies to just convert games or port games from Sinclair Spectrum. And and the result is sprites that are just monochromatic, no color. So I remember International Karate was little, but I don't see it here. I was gonna say it was pretty disappointing, but it's not here. Well, they didn't include for a reason. But if I go to, here we go. Actually, it should be in the ROM pack. Opening zip file. It's going to put in a temporary place, I assume, or extracting the list. And I don't know if it involves using the computer CPU, which will probably take forever. But I'm assuming it's that CPU is within that cartridge. So okay, let's try. If I do right, does it jump? Yes, it does. Okay, let's see if International Karate is here. International Karate is not here either. Okay, well, so it could be because it was never released on cartridges. So these ROMs are mostly, majority of them are cartridge releases. I know some of them are converted to ROM just for these purposes, where you can just load using one of these cartridges or emulators. And I did play that with a friend who had a cassette player, so obviously that's not gonna do. But okay, I mean, let's take anything else, something else that I know that existed in Commodore 64. Here you go, let's try Rambo. I remember Rambo. Well, I had the cassette version where it played this nice music while drawing a picture of the Rambo and the excellent music in game. Okay, not bad. Wow. I can't move anywhere. Is this like a RPG game? None of the keys work. So I couldn't get it to work. It could be the emulation situation, or it could be the machine difference. I remember my friend who owned the Sony MSX saying that it didn't work on his machine either. He would see the title screen just like mine, and then it wouldn't work just like mine. There are slight variations, even though they try to come up with this standard among all these manufacturers, right? That we have Yamaha, Hitachi, Casio, and Sanyo, and Sony. They're all making machines that are compatible with each other. It's just, you know, sometimes they're not 100% compatible, basically. So it is possible that if I had the original Rambo, it may or may not work on this machine. But let's try Super Rambo if you have it here, which came out for MSX2. So that was for is it here or a Super Rambo? Okay, Super Rambo Special 400 and for MSX2, and the ROM size is 128 kilobytes. So it has, you know, 108 kilobytes video memory and its disposal, and, you know, minimum of 64 kilobytes of RAM, but I don't know if it's gonna use expanded RAM. Wow. Very nice digitized graphic. Basic audio. something in Japanese asking me yes or no. I don't know. I'm just gonna say no. Or actually, I'll just push space. I don't know what that means. And it's gonna show me something else. Okay, here we go. Okay, I'm stabbing. I have a knife. I have one knife, 0 gun, 0 arrow, 0 other ammunition, 0 keys, and 0 rose flower. What is that? So this is again a oof. Okay, there was an explosion and screaming. So even with, you know, slightly more video RAM and possible, you know, better hardware in certain circumstances, not all, we still don't have scrolling, just like the C64. We don't have a, you know, music that's as cool. Some items are pretty colorful, like these guys. Oh, I'm trying to get a gun, I guess. I got a gun. Okay. Let me go, man. I have the receipt. Okay. Okay, I can shoot people. Oh, can I take these roses? Yes, I have a flower in my inventory. I don't know if I'm gonna give those to POWs or I don't know what this is. But yeah, for comparison, I mean, it's playable. It's just different. So when this machine didn't have, I guess, or didn't want to bother with scrolling, they just did screen by screen play, like The Last Ninja, for example, is an example for Commodore 64. And this is Super Rambo Special. All right, well, I'm just gonna turn this off, and then I'm gonna turn off everything on this cartridge just to see, I mean, what happens. Like if I turn this on, so it's gonna put into vanilla. So if I say memory, bad command or file name. Oh, really? I thought memory was a MSX-DOS 1 command, but apparently not. Okay. Well, that's that. But with the no memory at all, can we run something big like the Metal Gear 2? Yep, mega RAM size insufficient to load file. So that mega RAM is necessary to load these. Without it, I guess we can't do anything. I mean, maybe, well, you can do basic, I guess. So if I type basic, here we go. MSX Basic version 2.0, 24,931 bytes free. I can type Japanese, I can type English. And one last thing was for MSX, well, some machines allow you to disable certain ROM. So if I hold control, let's see if it works for this one, but I know some MSX machine allows you to do that. Let's say you have Arabic ROM, you have ROM with built-in like word processor and whatnot, and they all take certain amount of memory. So certain MSX machines allow you to disable that ROM, and then you get, you know, more memory available to you, and that's, they say, if some games don't work fit that ROM, they say just disable it and try. But yeah, I haven't seen a way to disable that for this. So the Japanese is pretty much always available, and I don't even know if there's a way to disable it. And that's pretty much it. That's our MSX2 standard machine made by Sanyo, model PHC23J. There are other MSX machines on Mercari. You can order from Japan. Some of them are known condition, some of them are unknown condition. If they require external power supply but they don't have one, it will be, you know, hard to find. If the power supply is built in, and if you're lucky like me, it will run right away. If they require strictly 100 volts, invest in a, you know, down step converter. If you're in the US, some work with 120, so it says 100-120 volts, so that should work fine. If you're getting MSX from other countries like Europe, if you're in the US, and if you're buying from eBay, there are some in the Middle East with Arabic ROMs. I mean, they should still work, except they are PAL machines, so either you need a PAL screen, or if you're in the US, that is, or you need to make sure it has a RGB port, like this one here. This is an RGB port, and that RGB port should give a better output, and you just need a special cable. So you gotta find the signals and, you know, schematics and whatnot if you want to build one, or you can get one RGB SCART cable, and you can find maybe SCART to VGA converter of some sort if you're going to use this in the US. And this is it. If you're in the US and considering MSX machine to add to your 8-bit collection, well, I think this is helpful. I'm not an MSX expert at all. I'm the beginner in this video. So when I say beginner, I don't mean you, I mean me. And there's a great community out there. MSX.org is one of them. There are forums. There are, you know, wiki there, a lot to read. So you can check out that website. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to add them. And have a nice day.